what's up? It's Johnny here, and I've got another question from one of you awesome Team 3CX members, and she likes to shoot NFL football, and as we know, it's very fast moving, can often be in low light, pretty tricky conditions, and in fact, it's probably the hardest you're going to push your camera gear. And I'd even go as much to say, I usually don't say gear doesn't matter, but when you're trying to shoot stuff that's fast action, it's in low light, and it's also, you need a long lens because it's a long distance away, gear does matter, unfortunately. So I know that she has a 2.8 lens. I'm not sure what focal length it is, but you're going to need something that goes up to at least 300 mil. If not further, even up to 400 mil, okay? So, and you're going to want some fast glass, particularly shooting sports like this. The question was about NFL. So, low light, sports, she's got some 2.8 glass, 300 mil 2.8, 400 mil 2.8, and they're serious, expensive lenses, okay? And then you want a super fast shutter speed. You want to be shooting at about, 1250th of a second or 2500th of a second, like really, really fast shutter speeds. And to get those really fast shutter speeds, you really need a really big aperture, okay? So you want to have your lens on f4, somewhere around that. So you don't want to go all the way out to 2.8, or if you've got a faster lens, but because you're going to lose that depth of field, okay? The bigger the hole, so the smaller the aperture numbers, the bigger the hole, the shallower depth of field, meaning you're gonna not have much depth of field at all to work with. So I reckon f4 is going to be a sweet spot. Now you want your camera in aperture priority, so that means you're going to choose what the aperture is, set it to f4 indefinitely, and the camera's going to choose the shutter speed, okay? So we're letting the camera do some of the work here. Because it is such fast moving, you'll find that you want to let the camera do some of the work. There's no way you could shoot this sort of thing in manual. With focusing, you want to have it in servo mode, meaning the camera is all the time trying to focus on what it thinks the subject is, okay? That's really important. So normally you have it on like single focus, so you press it, it focuses and stops, but you want your camera to be able to keep focusing while the action's happening, okay? So it's really important. Servo mode is like absolutely critical. Now, of course, you want to have it in burst mode, okay? So meaning you want continuous shooting. You want to be able to push that button down and fire off as many frames as you can when the action is happening. That's really, really critical. And last but not least is your ISO. Now, I would say, when would you use auto ISO in these conditions? If you are finding the lighting conditions are changing, and I'm assuming with something like NFL, the lights are pretty much, it's dark, the lights are on, it's a bit, it's pretty much the lighting is fixed, so you can adjust your ISO in to get your exposure right easily. But if you're in changing light conditions, so for instance, you're out shooting wildlife or something, and there's clouds going by, and the sun's coming out, and it's going away, the sun's coming out, and it's going away, then you may want to think about choosing auto ISO as well, okay? So what that's going to do, the camera's going to choose an ISO that's going to help balance out your exposure and make life for you a little bit easier. You want the camera to do some of the work, because all you want to be worrying about is making sure you've got your lens pointed in the right direction and you're trying to capture that action. That's really critical. One other tip with focusing too, I would turn on all the focus points that are available on your camera. So if you've got a heap of if you've got phase detection points and contrast points, I would turn all those on and just have the maximum amount available, because you just never know where in the frame the action's going to happen, and you're hoping that your camera's got a fast enough focusing system that it can pick up that action and get everything in focus for you. It is tough. It is one of the toughest things you can do, actually, is to shoot wildlife or sport. It's so fast moving, and particularly with the NFL. So I think a couple of the problems that you might have been having there with you was the camera that the lady was using was a D7000, which is not a bad camera, but it doesn't have the most super fast focusing system. It's okay, and I think that might be where the issue could be, in the focusing system there. And I also think, because you were shooting like 2.8, 3.5, I would give yourself that little bit extra depth of field, so shoot about f4. So just to recap, shooting wildlife and sports photography, you're going to need some long lenses, man. 200 mil, 300 mil at least. Can you shoot it with things that are a bit smaller, like a 70 to 200? Sure you can. If you can get close enough for the action, then that'll be fine. There's no problems at all. But you want some fast glass, okay? Because if you're shooting in low light, you want to be able to open up that aperture as big as possible. Well, when I say as big as possible, not all the way to the max at a 2.8, but around f4. That's the key. Now you want your focus in servo mode. You want all your focus points turned on. You want burst mode turned on your camera, or if the lighting conditions are changing regularly and they're not sort of set, you do need to use auto ISO. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers the question, and I might pop a couple of your images in, if you don't mind, under this post a bit later. And thanks. This has been Johnny for 3 Colors, answering another question for my awesome Team 3CX community. So if you like this, please subscribe, like, share, comment to share the photography love, and yeah, we'll talk to you soon. This is Johnny out. Peace.